as a reformed perfectionist in training, constant training, life is giving me many opportunities to practice letting the perfectionism go. Let me explain. So we are remodeling our bathrooms, and I walk in to see the tile after it's been laid. I explained how I wanted it and everything in the hall bathroom. And immediately my eye goes whoop to the top, and there's this super skinny piece on it. I was like, what the hell is that? Why is there just a skinny piece? Like, I know why, right? Because they started and they went and then they ended and there was just a little bit left. And that's how it ended. And it looks weird. To me, it looks weird. I was like, God bless America. And then I looked down on the tile on the floor. Most of the tile, it's a basket weave. So as a basket weave, it's got white tile going this way and white tile going this way. And then in between, they've got these little squares of gray. And everything looks really great. These little squares of gray, there's like one tile, where all the squares are darker gray than everywhere else in the room. I was like, why could that piece not have been over by the toilet, right? Where you're not going to see it. It's literally right in your line of sight, right by the tub as you look in the place. And I said to myself, Amy, breathe. There's going to be a mat in front of that tub. No one's going to ever see it. No one's going to ever know it's there but you. The little skinny tile at the top, it's okay, because most people, they don't look up like that, number one. And number two, I've got this really pretty, they're like drapes almost, one on either side. Because the ceiling is so high, it looks really pretty to have two drapes hanging down. So I have these two pretty drapes. The top part is just going to not be seen. And that's how I rationalized it and got myself through it. So then I walk in and I notice that the niche in our master bathroom is supposed to be like 3 feet long. It's supposed to be a massive niche. Where it looks like it's going to go doesn't look centered. So I said to the contractor, what's up with that pipe? It's like right in my way for my centered niche. And he goes, yeah, it's a vent. I don't give a shit what it is. It needs to move. I don't know that we can move. It's actually a vent from a bathroom below. And so I don't think we can move it. I can put my 3-foot niche in, but then it's going to be off center. If I have a centered niche in the space that I have out, allowed or available, I'm losing a whole foot of my niche. So last night I was with the tile guy and we were debating on where exactly to put it, and the fact that the niche right now is not centered in the shower. It's kind of shifted to the left. It's pretty much centered between the edge of the seat and the shower wall, but not the whole shower itself. What are you going to do? I either have a really long niche and have it wonky off center, or I have a smaller niche and it's at least quasi-centered above the drain, above the light. It's just smaller by a foot. I can have a meltdown. And trust me, I was internally. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I approved. That's not what I envisioned. I love the big, long, we have a big, long shower. I wanted a big, long niche. We've got lots of stuff to put on there between John uses different shampoo than I use, and his bottles are really big and yada, yada, yada. Now that we're not using the preformed insert, the tile guy's going to actually build me an insert. How big do you build it? Not sure. So we are waiting today to talk to the plumber. The consensus is I'm not going to be able to move that pipe. The consensus is I'm going to have to be restrained and restricted to how, to the room that's available. That's a real bummer. John was like, but we have this whole bench. You can put stuff on the bench. I was like, that's the whole point of having the niche, is to not have to clutter the step. So then I was thinking long and hard, And I was like, you know what? He's got these really big plastic bottles, big red plastic bottles. And mine are pink, and he's got a green one. And I thought, maybe what I'll do is I'll go and find some really pretty bottles, even if they're clear, right? So that you can kind of see the tile from behind, and just refill them. And that way I don't have this big bulky bottle sitting on the niche that is now much smaller. Not 100% plumb. It's not the length that I wanted. It's, life is giving me lots of opportunities to practice letting my perfectionism go, to really reinforce that fact that I'm a reformed perfectionist, that I have overcome the perfectionism. I will say I'm better. I will not say that I am cured. It's a part of who I am. Like having a picture off center or have a picture kind of tilted makes me nutty. But there are certain things, like the skinny tile at the top, that I can cover in a way that I won't be reminded of it every time I go in, right? Because as a perfectionist, I want things absolutely perfect. But in life, things are messy. Things are not perfect. And life is giving me opportunities to let that go. When I look down on the floor and I see that one stinking tile that has darker spots on it than everything else, I'm going to cover that bad boy with a beautiful floor mat. Yes, I am. So that every time I walk by that bathroom, I don't see that one tile. Right? I do workarounds so I don't drive myself crazy. Now, if I was a true perfectionist and not reformed, I would make them rip up that one tile and replace it with something else. I'm letting it go. I'm practicing. And so that's where I'm at. Is there something that you're working on? If you're a perfectionist, do things like that bother you? And if so, what do you do when you can't change them? How do you work around that and not make yourself crazy? Please share. Please. We can learn from each other. For me, I take a deep breath. And it's interesting because John, when he went into the bathroom, his eyes did not go to the ceiling where there was a skinny tile. He didn't even see it. Didn't even see it. And when I pointed out the dark tile on the floor, he could see it. But that wasn't where his eye went. Just mine. Because I'm constantly looking for the thing that's out of place, the thing that is wonky, the thing that is not right, the thing that is not centered. I'm not looking at it as a whole. I'm just narrowing in my focus. And here's something that I did learn. If you're looking for what's wrong, you're gonna find it. Nothing in life is perfect. It's hard for me as a perfectionist to wrap my head around that, but I'm getting lots of practice doing it because nothing in life is perfectly aligned. And most of it is something that only I am focused on. Or maybe another perfectionist, right? Let's be honest. Only another perfectionist would come in and look for the one piece that is a little bit different. And if I showed it to you, you might not even see it. You will now because I've pointed it out to you. But if you just looked at the bathroom, you probably wouldn't have even seen it, that this one tile has a little bit. You might have thought, oh, it's wet right there. Like someone had stepped on that tile with a wet foot or something. And you wouldn't even have given it the time of day. With my mind being programmed to look for the errors, I'm going to find it. And I am retraining every opportunity I get to stop focusing on the one little piece and instead focus on the big picture. Focus on how beautiful that tile looks on the floor and how much better it looks than it did before. Focus on how much brighter it looks in there. Focus on how pretty it looks and not focus on the one tile that's a little darker than everything else. And this happens in life. If I program my reticular activator to look for things to go wrong in life, I'm going to find them. If I'm going to look for things to irritate me, I'm going to find them. And so I'm going to program my reticular activator to not look for those things so much anymore. It's not a life or death. And it makes my life much more enjoyable because when I see that one thing that's out of place, it like, And oh Lord, I just spilled all my coffee all over me. It so irritates me that it winds me up and it makes my stomach hurt. And I'm like, how can I fix this? How can I make this right? And then I get obsessive over it. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I need to work around it. I need to learn to accept it. I need to look at all the beauty and not the one thing that's out of place. Not the one thing that's irritating. How about going on a drive? You're driving. Let's say you're driving to work, or you're driving to pick up your kids, or you're driving on vacation. And everything is beautiful. The sky is sunny. The leaves are changing. Everything's beautiful. And one jerk cuts you off. If I focus on the jerk that cuts me off and I ruin my whole experience driving to wherever I'm going, why? I get to choose. I get to choose on what I focus on. Having the perfect drive down there without having somebody cut me off, can't control that. Can't control that there was one tile in the box. Unless I stand over the tile guy, I can't control where he puts that tile. I'm not doing it myself. And so, yeah, I'm learning to let it go. I'm learning to, instead of walking into the room and saying, okay, what's out of place? What needs to be fixed? What do I need to make sure happens before the next step? I still do that, because if I can fix something that is not right. Prime example, I walked in, besides seeing this niche not centered and much smaller, I did notice that something else was kind of out of whack, and caught it in enough time that we were able to fix it. Somehow in the process, the design got switched, and I shared this with you. And now I'm able to fix it before they wall it in and tile it, and then I'm kind of fucked. I'm kind of hosed. I'm kind of just got to work around it. I don't need to do that, right? I don't need to do that. We're fixing that one. That's getting fixed today. This other one, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to be able to work around having a smaller niche. Most people will not even know the difference. Only I will know, because it's not what I wanted or envisioned initially. But can I make it work? Absolutely. I can definitely make it work. And I will. And I will. And I will train my brain, and I will practice training my brain by all the wonderful experiences life is giving me to implement and overcome this perfectionism that has been so ingrained in me since I've been little. And not letting it really, what is it called? Rip the rug out from under me, make me off kilter, ruin my entire day or my entire night, obsess about it so that I can't sleep. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the sweatshirt, and every other article of clothing, because I do it still to this day. If I pay for something and then find that it was on sale, does that drive you nuts? That drives me absolutely batshit crazy. If I buy a ticket on an airline or a concert or an event, or I buy an article of clothing, and then a week later I find out that same thing is 30% off or 20% off or whatever it is, that makes me so angry. Does it make you irritated? Or do you just like, oh well? Get lots of opportunities to let that go. How do I do that? I am grateful that I had the funds to purchase it at the price that I purchased. And that money is going to people that need it to feed their families, whether that's the employees at the place, or if it's an event, the people performing, or the people that are assisting the people that are performing, or the venue that is housing the performance of the person that's performing, that my money is helping to help their families. And that's how I justify it in my head, regardless of the price that I paid, right? And I do have workarounds to help ease that anxiety and that pressure and that stress of the perfectionism that I have. Do you have workarounds over your, what are they called? They're not called idiosyncrasies. The little things that irritate you or knock you off kilter or, make you feel like things aren't right, please tell me I'm not alone in this. I'm sharing what I do because if it really rocks your world, I want you to have some workarounds. Knowing that when my husband walked in, he didn't see the tile that was darker. He didn't see the little tile. When you come into my beautiful, newly remodeled bathroom, you're not going to be like, oh, wow, that niche is really small because it's 2 feet long and not 3 feet long. You're not going to do that. You're going to look at the beautiful bathroom, right? You're going to take it in as a whole because you didn't know that it was meant to be 3 feet. You just see how it ended up, and it's going to end up beautiful no matter what the size is. So here's to programming our minds to look for more things that go right than go wrong. Here's the things to focus on, the things to be grateful for, than the things to irritate and annoy us. Here's to being grateful for, you know what? This also works for people in our lives. If I program my brain to look for all the things that irritate me, guess what I find? More things that irritate me. Those little personality traits that drive you batshit crazy. The person that, the person that moves really slowly. The person that hoards every little thing and can't let it go. The person that catastrophizes everything and creates stories and makes up worst case scenarios about situations that aren't true, but believe them to be true and believe them to be factual and say it with such gumption and force that there's no talking to them about anything else, whether that's politics or, something that they drove by and they made sense out of and created a story and they think that story is accurate. If we look for all of those little annoying traits and we focus on them, we end up losing our friends. We end up getting so irritated with our friends, our family, our spouses, our children, because we all have them. I have them. I have those traits that just grate people the wrong way sometimes. And if people focus on only that, they miss all the wonderful traits that I have as well, right? Because they can only see that annoying one. Maybe the person burps really loudly all the time, doesn't cover their mouth. You've asked them a million times to please put their face another way or cover their mouth or excuse themselves, and they don't. Can you change that? No. All you can change is how you allow that action of somebody else to impact you. So I'm not going to change the tile on the floor or the tile up at the ceiling. I am not going to be able to change the person that cuts me off in traffic or the irritating behaviors that people I love seem to have. So I'm going to focus instead on all the goodness. Because why intentionally make myself stressed out? It's hard. It is so hard because I have done it for my entire life. Looked for the problems, the irritation, the things that aren't right and want to fix them. Whether they're fixing people or situations or events or any of it. And as Mel Robbins says, just let them. Let them have their irritating behaviors. Let them have, let the tile be what it is. Accept what you cannot change. Focus on the things that you can. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Some of the workarounds that I do to help me accept the things I can't change and focus my attention on the things that are going right, the things that light me up, the things that are beautiful, and not the one thing that's out of place. Makes my life so much better. Do I notice the thing that's out of place? Absolutely. And then I have to redirect myself to something else. I sure hope that me sharing this difficult time of my perfectionism, of the experiences and the practice sessions that I've had over the last couple of weeks, of being this reformed perfectionist in training. The in training part is happening a lot in the last couple of weeks. I hope this has really helped you in some way. And if you know somebody that is dealing with this, share this with them. Let's make our lives easier, not harder. Let's make it more enjoyable, not more stressful.